Hello and welcome. My name is Thef, and today we are going to start opening doors. There are many different ways to make doors in Everywhere. We're going to look at some pros and cons of different logic nodes. Let's start by getting a door frame out here and find a couple doors to place in it. We're going to go with these swinging doors. Let's get them lined up in the frame so it looks good. It is important to get the doors lined up correctly in the frame. Otherwise, the animation of the door opening won't look right to the player. We can't really do sliding doors here with these ones, as the doors have nowhere to slide into. So we will have to rotate them. Let's get the pivot point moved into the corner of the door here and see how it rotates. We want to make sure it's not clipping poorly here. This looks pretty good. Let's get the other door lined up just the same. These should work pretty well. Now we want to get a trigger volume to handle opening the doors when a player walks up. We're going to place this volume right in the middle of the door and extend out both ways. We want enough distance so that the door can open up before the player runs into it. We can adjust that size later. The basics of the door are going to be setting up a rotation node that rotates the door when a player enters the volume. Let's get a couple of rotation nodes here. We will rotate the door here to see what the rotation axis and value we want is. 90 degrees looks good here. We'll set the rotation node to 90 degrees as well. Let's repeat this on the other door. Now let's quickly just set the trigger volume to trigger the rotation nodes on player enter. Let's get a spawn point in here as well so we can spawn right here. You can see the doors open when you walk up to them. Now the problem here is The doors don't handle repeat interactions. It keeps rotating. Let's work on that. First, we will set up the door to close. We'll trigger off the on-exit event to rotate the doors in the opposite direction. Let's duplicate the rotate nodes here so we can keep things a bit organized. Hook them up to the on-exit event of the trigger volume and then point them at the doors. We will do the same thing with the other door, making sure we are setting the rotation to the opposite direction of the open event. Here, we can see now that the door closes when we walk away. This works okay, and even cancels out the animation to return to the right place, even when not letting any of the animation run through. It works pretty decent. However, now we want to make sure the door always opens away from the player to allow the player to run through smoother. This is where the logic gets a bit tricky. We're going to set up a trigger volume on each side so that we know which side the player is coming from. Now we'll hook up the on-enter nodes of the new volume to the reverse nodes as the first one. It looks like we hooked them up backwards, but as you can see, the door's direction of opening changes based on the side the player is on. Let's swap the direction of the rotation so that the door is opening away from the player. We'll just move the rotation nodes to the opposite sides here and hook them up to the correct trigger volumes. Make sure to get both doors. Now the doors are opening away from the player, allowing me to run through smoothly. However, you can see there are some issues with the door if you don't let it open all the way before going through. Also, when it does open, the door closes immediately after passing through. These are all things we are going to look at fixing in the next video. If you are enjoying these tutorials, please press that like button and subscribe to the channel to get notifications of the next video. If you have suggestions for future tutorials, please leave a comment down below. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.